The whole warrior aspect of it, like I didn't have the greatest upbringing as a kid. I would say 5 till about 11, I lived with my mother. And she used to actually work as a manager in different strip clubs, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Holy
So,
crap.
like, I mean, you had 9, 10-year-old me running around titty bars,
No
right? I swear to
way.
God. So for me, like, the samurai represents a couple different things like loyalty, courage, discipline, and then they live by a code called Bushido, which is the way of the warrior, and it's about living your life properly with respect and honor, stuff like that. And then, so later in centuries, they introduced Zen Buddhism into how they actually live their
Oh
lives.
really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah. So that's like if you look at the helm here, it's
The
part
the
of
circle on the top of their helmet.
yeah. So it's a Dharma wheel, and I just put that in specifically because there's 8 pegs to it, and that represents the eightfold path.
The Eightfold Path?
Yeah, in Buddhism. So
What is that?
it's a way to live your life,
Way of
just
living.
morals, basically a code, stuff like
Principles.
that. Yeah, exactly,
Oh shit.
exactly. Because I grew up mainly in a Christian household, and then for a bunch of different reasons. Yeah, my father was, pretty religious. I just kind of fell away from it and didn't really resonate with me. I just didn't like the idea of having to give money to an institution to be able to pray, and I know a bunch of people follow whatever. Um, Plus, my dad kind of shoved it down my throat a little bit
Yeah,
when he
so-
could, which kind
but-
of pushed me away. So,
Yeah.
so the Buddhism first popped up.
Oh really?
And that started, I was introduced to it, like the concept of when I was in high school. I never really paid attention to it. And then I went away to college. And then when I was 20 years old, I got a phone call from my dad. My grandfather was helping me pay like for schooling. I got a call from him, and the lady that was taking care of him the day after he passed away cleared the bank accounts, stole all the insurance money.
No.
Yeah, so I was originally going to school for biology with an emphasis in veterinary studies.
Veterinary?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to work with. I wanted to work with big animals. I didn't want to do like, your standard. I know I could still do it, but I got kids and a mortgage and everything
much
else,
harder
so
now, yeah.
like that dream's kind of out the window. And like I really enjoy what I do now. But yeah, so I got that phone call. And then I felt my chest tighten up and like I couldn't breathe. And I was having my first panic attack that I've ever experienced. So I called my dad and I was like, dude, I think I'm dying. And he's like, no, relax. I've had them. This is what it is. Kind of calmed me down a little bit. And so I had to leave school after that semester and go get a job because student loans kick in 6 months. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no schooling, I had nothing, basically.
Turn your life around in that
Yeah.
moment.
So that semester it was, alcohol and other unspeakables, whatever I felt like that day. And I was dating my current wife at the time, and she wasn't about that lifestyle, and it was basically her or it. And I ended up choosing her. And my wife, I ended up choosing my wife over that lifestyle. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, you saved my life, you don't even know it. So yeah, I ended up choosing her and snapped out of that lifestyle pretty much immediately. I ended up getting a job doing commercial plumbing, like construction.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
It's a good job.
yeah,
Hey,
so
well, it's okay.
I did that. It was okay, the pay wise, but I ended up doing that for a while, right around 5 years. But I was on call 24/7.
Oh my God.
So in the middle of the night, there'd be like a main break, and I'd get a phone call. I'd be out there digging ditches,
Holy
and
shit,
my body started to take a beating, and I got tired of freezing my balls off in the wintertime. So I was like, I got to do something else. So that's when I started testing for police departments and everything, because the woman who stole the money, just to kind of bring it full circle, she got like barely a slap on the wrist.
She didn't get anything.
She pled guilty to a couple different charges, but it was nothing major. So at that point, I was like, all right, this is something that I'd like to be interested in. I looked at the case that the detectives did in their investigation and everything, and I wasn't really
Convinced.
impressed with it. You know, like they just kind of, it was like another case, whatever. And I mean, being on that side of the fence now, like, I get it, but you still have to do your due diligence, you know what I mean? And put stuff together, because these are people's lives you're dealing
Yeah,
with,
you can't just
you know?
consider it just a job and
And,
that's it. There's more at
and
stake.
like, I mean, it wasn't millions of dollars that was taken. It was right around 90,000 between insurance and bank accounts. But you know what? For a blue collar guy working a couple jobs to put dinner on the table, that's a shit ton of money. It might as well be a couple $1,000,000.
Definitely, you
You
felt
know?
like that when it happened to
Yeah,
you, right?
absolutely. So that's why I started testing for police departments, and that's what kind of pushed me towards doing what I do now. And you know, I just always remember that. So that was right after I came back. I started having like panic attack episodes here and there, and I found meditation to be helpful. And meditation really aligns with Buddhism and that faith. So I started looking into it more, and then I was reading about the Eightfold Path and stuff like that, and that's what really resonated with me, and I just kind of stuck with it. So having the right speech, that's part of it, because words could do a lot more
Yeah,
than
definitely.
anything. So with me,
It's so powerful.
yeah. So with me, that resonates the most. You know, speak the truth. You know, be honest and forthcoming about stuff, because at the end of the day, everybody's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah,
To err is human, but mistakes can be forgiven as long as you're able to admit them.
that's true.
You know what I mean? When you hide stuff and you cover it up, now you're lying, and now it just makes it into a bigger deal. If you come straight out like, yeah, man, I messed up or whatever.
You can actually start progressing instead
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
making it worse.
So the samurai is the warrior, obviously. You know, to me, it kind of represents, like I was saying earlier, like courage, loyalty, things of that nature. And then as far as what I do for a living, like being a police officer, it really resonates with me as well. You know, because there are situations where you got to be courageous, you got to have respect for people, you got to have honor, you have to be all these things, integrity, you know, to serve people. I mean, and that's ultimately what we're doing, serving the public.
Serving. Yeah, you're
So, and that's huge with me. And then, you know, the whole warrior aspect of it. Like, I didn't have the greatest upbringing as a kid. You know, like from when I was about, I would say 5 till about 11, I lived with my mother, and she used to actually work as a manager in different strip clubs, right?
oh shit.
Yeah.
Holy
So,
crap.
like, I mean, you had 9, 10-year-old me running around titty bars,
No
right?
way.
I swear to God, man. Like, they weren't open, but
No,
like
yeah,
behind
but
the scenes running
you
around
were,
and
yeah,
stuff.
you were in the background, but that's
Yeah,
amazing.
right. So she would do that, but she would leave at 7 p.m. and she wouldn't get home until 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh my god.
In the same token, I'm grateful for it, because what I do now, I see kids in all types of situations. Whether it's an abusive home, and I'm able to, you know, report it to, because we're mandated reporters, so we have to report everything DCFS. Whether it's an abusive home, addictions in the home, poverty, stuff like that, you know, I could kind of sit and resonate with these kids and, you know, really kind of make a connection based off my own life story. So to be able to sit there and be like, hey man, like, it gets better. Trust me, this isn't it for you. You know, if you want it, like, it's not gonna just be handed to you. You're gonna have to go get it, but it's there if you want it.
Just don't give up, find a better
Yeah,
path.
and like, I'm a realist when it comes to it. Like, you can't save everybody. Not every kid is gonna follow your advice or, you know, take what you're saying to heart. A lot of them are gonna go, yeah, whatever, dude, get the fuck out of my face. But, you know, if I could get 1 or 2 out of 10,
At least to show them that not everybody's the same, right? That
yeah,
there are actually
exactly.
good people out there trying to help you.
Exactly. Some people, even situations that they're put into, can feel like hell, or like, and you know, like, because everybody suffers. That's just what life is.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a matter of just kind of getting through it and making your way and finding what
Kind of,
works for you.
I think it's sort of like it's what you do when you're in hell or when you're going through hell that defines you. And in those moments, you have to choose what you're most willing to work on or you're willing to lose, right?
Yeah.
To get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can either lose yourself or you can lose those friends that aren't so good for you, right?
Yeah. But don't be afraid to reach out, ask for help, because like when I was first dealing with my anxiety and stuff, and like it sucks because stuff like that is such an individual journey in itself. That it's nice to talk to somebody, even if it's a random person that'll lend an ear, just so you could bounce off ideas, what you're going through, what you're feeling, just to kind of take that weight off your chest, because there are people out there that will care, will listen, and will help you out if possible. So I mean, if you're going through something shitty like that, that'd probably be the best thing I'd say is don't be afraid to reach out, because no matter how alone you feel, you're never really alone. Someone's either gone through it or going through it or has been through it. So
You never know who's gonna end up helping you out.
yeah, so you'll figure it out. It's just keep moving. That's it. I mean, I've gone and like spoken to someone professionally, because in my profession, like I've seen stuff that's messed me up that I didn't want to think about or whatever, and it was actually my wife that caught it, that I was acting different. I was zoning out, wasn't really present, wasn't really, kind of acting the same. So she's the one that pushed me to like go speak to somebody, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Really?
I was very, especially with like this profession, there's such a stigma, right? And at the end of the day, I mean, you gotta say fuck it and do what's best for you. And I went in there with an open mind and was like, all right, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And half the time it was just me talking. I was just speaking,
Letting things out.
and they were just listening, and that was enough. So
That's cool. Because that's all you really want, somebody to hear you out, right?
yeah,
Brandon, thank you so much for being on this
been real,
podcast.
man.
It's been a privilege. And hopefully we get to see a little bit of your tattoo when this is finished.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.